well, we'll see what happened. Let's go.
No.
Why can't you admit that you hit a car that was there?
I am more than willing to admit that our cars collided and that I do make mistakes sometimes, but I do not think that this is a mistake that I made
Well,
because
causing
I
a
know
crash
for a
is a
fact-
mistake.
I'm
You didn't
sorry.
do it on purpose.
Welcome to What Had Happened Was.
Where we take a peek into actual court cases and give you commentary based on our unique perspective and experiences, and also give you informational tips and tricks to help you avoid a what had happened situation.
Before we get started, give us a thumbs up, a tasteful comment. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of every video as they come out. All defendants are considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
If it would have been clear, there wouldn't have been a crash.
That is why I'm confused, and that's why
Well,
we're
but
here today.
What's confusing you is you seem to have eliminated the possibility that you goofed. You didn't see somebody that was there.
Well, I would agree with you on that, except for I had a passenger in the car and they were also they also are aware and a very nervous driver, and they felt that they didn't see this car either.
So now what, her friend is an expert witness? I hope her friend's not a driving instructor, because
I
if
hope
her friend
not.
is a driving instructor,
We'd really be in trouble.
you know, we really have a...
Oh my God. I can't believe how much denial she's in by her involvement in something that
But
she
if you
said
really think about what
she was
if you
there.
listen to what she's saying, she's not realizing, but she's talking herself into and out of it at the same time. Like, I don't think she should have rehearsed this before she said it. She should have gone over what happened in her mind as far as the facts or whatever, because her story, I mean, you know, she's testifying for herself.
She's trying to make what she's doing. Unfortunately, is a disservice to herself. She's trying to explain what happened and not take any responsibility for what happened. She's not one. She said it from the beginning. She's not accepting responsibility, and her testimony is sticking to her gun. She's saying exactly what she wants to say. She is not taking any responsibility for this accident. It's not her fault.
He came out of nowhere.
Me.
I don't know where he thought he was going.
I was going one way. I'm not sure which way he was going.
Yeah, he just came out of nowhere. His car attacked my car.
Yeah, he was behind me. My car didn't tell me to stop.
His car attacked my car. My car wasn't sure what was going on.
The sensors didn't go off, so
he attacked my poor car. And
again, the car didn't tell her to stop.
The car didn't tell me to stop. So how was I supposed to know I was supposed to stop at that time? You know, she's not really listening to what she's saying.
No, she is
bad
not.
Because it makes drivers, you know, some drivers look really bad, and then
it does.
You try to explain something, and then people are like, "Oh no, everybody drives like that." No, everybody does not drive like that.
No, they don't. Just you.
She's acting like his car attacked her car.
Yeah,
my car was just driving along the street, and all of a sudden,
this mean old car came along and just started goading and pointing and
attacking the car.
My car wasn't
my car didn't know what else to do to defend itself.
Right.
So my car had to strike back in order to feel like
vindicated, basically, right? Your car just felt vindicated.
This car was not. Her car was not going to be able to drive home and feel okay.
I got you now.
Without taking some sort of justice for itself.
It's ridiculous.
And so that is what is even more confusing.
The car is visible.
Too. Right.
This is what, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
The car doesn't have any cloaking devices.
So he's obviously a trick, because
he
said, "Beat me down." And he said cloaking devices.
Right, exactly.
It's a Romulan warbird. Dude, Your Honor, the gentleman, he was driving a Romulan warbird.
Pretty much.
Came out of
nowhere. He decloaked. As I was changing lane, the car decloaked. Oh my gosh, you can't make this stuff up.
Even better, I'm saying, Your Honor, let me just tell you what happened. Yeah, I know you're not gonna believe this. You might. I was driving, and all of a sudden, it just decloaked. It was a Romulan warbird. It just appeared out of nowhere, and next thing I know, I struck it.
I know it around because it wasn't because you can tell the distinct difference between the Romulan warbird and the Klingon bird of prey.
Right.
Who else has a
I
decloaking
can tell by
device?
the markings and the fact that it decloaked that it was a Romulan warbird.
And not a Klingon bird of prey.
You're not a Klingon bird of prey, and so I felt threatened, and I you know, because they attack first all the time.
I couldn't go to evasive maneuvers quick enough.
and my mock button wasn't working, so because my
I could put the deflectors up quick enough for the shields and hold. You mean you couldn't go to warp?
yes, and my dilithium crystals were failing, so
Shields wouldn't hold.
my shield wouldn't hold. I was at a loss of what to do.
You couldn't go to warp. That's what you got hit.
What is it? What was it called? The Kobayashi?
The Kobayashi Maru.
Kobayashi Maru. I was stuck in the Kobayashi Maru.
Yes.
It's an impossible situation. Either way, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. Everybody could go. Everybody could stay.
And that's what happened, Your Honor.
That's what happened, Your Honor. That's all I can say. That's what happened.
That's my defense.
That's what happened, Your Honor. The Kobayashi Maru. As opposed to the Chewbacca defense.
Yes, as opposed to Chewbacca defense.
Some days, but the Kobayashi Maru.
Yes,
Kobayashi Maru.
not Chewbacca.
Not Chewbacca. Thank you, Your Honor, for taking the time to listen to my story. I really appreciate it.
Sitting there, it's 20 feet long, it's 6 feet wide, it's 5 feet high. It's visible.
Yeah,
There
well,
would not have been a crash if you didn't go into that person's lane.
I'm saying that I don't think that this was my fault. I do know for a
Are you
fact
blaming the
that
other
this
guy
car-
because he's driving down the road and happens to be in a lane that you want to turn into?
I do know for a fact that he was
Do you
behind-
blame him because he was where you wanted to be?
I think that this is a situation where maybe
Answer
we
my
both
question.
could have done better.
Are you blaming the other guy because he was physically present where you wanted to be?
I don't blame him because he was in that lane.
Here's a little fact for those of you who might not know this. You know you have a license. A car in the lane has the right of way over a car entering into the lane. Just a fact.
And keep saying it. Say it again. Say it again.
A car in the lane already has the right of way over a car trying to enter into the lane.
So when you take your car, you cut your car in.
And the car there, they had the right of way. If they hit you, you were wrong. Your Honor, I looked, so that absolves me from all blame. But
Not my fault. I looked.
if I didn't look, then maybe it might be my fault. Maybe
But my car told me. My car didn't tell me to stop.
My car didn't tell me to stop, and I looked, so it can't be my fault. And if I didn't look, then maybe it might have been my fault. But definitely, I did look, so it definitely cannot be my fault. Sounds ridiculous.
I do think that I do know that he was behind me the entire time.
Ma'am, if he was behind you the entire time, the front of your car wouldn't have hit the back of his.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how he got in.
You made a mistake. You didn't see somebody that was there. It's possible you could have made a mistake, and the crash is kind of a proof of it.
Well,
We all make mistakes.
I do know.
She's holding this line about she didn't see him. He jumped out of nowhere. She was there first. He came out of nowhere. He magically appeared. She doesn't know. I don't know. He could have been there, but he wasn't there at the time when I was there, which is why we were both there at the same. Like, stop.
She's steadfast in that conviction.
Stop.
That's not her.
Stop. And I'm waiting for her to say it wasn't her. She wasn't there. I'm waiting for her to say that was not me, Your Honor. At that time, I don't even know who that is. I wasn't even in town that day. That was my sister. That was my sister's stuff. I was not.
And people tell me you creep around like me. You don't even got a BMW like mine.
Tell me if you know that song.
Why can't you admit that you hit a car that was there?
I am more than willing to admit that our cars collided and that I do make mistakes sometimes, but I do not think that this is a mistake that I made.
Well,
because
causing
I
a
know
crash
for a
is a
fact-
mistake.
I'm
You
sorry.
didn't do it on purpose.
I'm sorry.
You didn't crash into the other car on purpose, did you?
I did not crash into the other
Oh,
car.
therefore you made a mistake.
I would say that I guess I know that it is a confusing situation in the
It's
way
not
that
confusing.
our cars.
Put a 3 in the comment if you're confused, because nobody is confused but her. And
Exactly.
she's the only one that's making herself confused because she does not want to admit that she actually hit this person's car.
Exactly.
She really does not want to sit here
She's in complete denial.
and sit there and say, I did hit this car. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Because now in for a penny, in for a pound. She's in for a penny, in for a pound. Because now all you're doing is making the judge further upset with you. Because now the judge is like,
And he just said, listen.
And
he just ended the conversation. The other car had to ride away.
He doesn't suspend her license and send her back to what's that called?
Driving school. Re-education.
What's the name of that movie in the 80s? It's old. With all those people that made all those mistakes and they had to go drive back to driving school. I know the name, but put the name, if you know the name, put the name in the comments.
Yes.
There's nothing confusing about it. It's perfectly clear.
Your Honor, he was behind me the entire time.
Then how did you hit the side of his car if he's behind you?
So I'm not sure if he was trying to get around me, but
Does it matter? He's got the right of way. You don't.
Your Honor, I am struggling. I've thought about this situation so many times, and I'm just struggling to understand really what happened. And I talked to the other passenger in the.
Is your friend really going to argue with you about what happened and that you were wrong? They're not your average friend is not going to sit there and be like, you were wrong. You shouldn't have did that. And you shouldn't have, and that was stupid. They're not going to say that. They're just going to be like, okay. They're not going to say that. The a real friend will tell you, I don't know what you thought you were doing.
Exactly. Well, I know this much. It didn't, whatever she thought, there wasn't no wormhole about to open up.
She thought a wormhole was about to open
into the gamma quadrant.
Into the gamma quadrant.
To let
she was going to sit there and let her through.
That wasn't happening. No.
Car, and she also struggling to understand how that happened because, like, he was behind me until
if he was behind you, you wouldn't have hit the side of his car.
But he was aware that I was turning into the lane.
It doesn't matter. You're not parting the waters of the Red Sea with a turn signal. You turn your turn signal on. It doesn't tell people they have to get out of your way.
I understand that. The issue that I'm having is that when I turned onto Woodward toward Buckingham, I was very confident. And
she's switching to the Chewbacca defense.
I think she is. Because the Chewbacca defense, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Everyone knows that it doesn't make sense. This is Chewbacca. He's a Wookiee, and these are Ewoks. They're from Endor, and if that being said, this and that, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
If it doesn't make sense, you gotta quit. You gotta let her go.
Let her go.
So she went from the Kobayashi Maru. Now she's going to Chewbacca defense.
There we go.
And it's still not working.
And the fact that I could get to Buckingham with having the cars that were coming, toward Buckingham have a lot of space where I wouldn't have even gotten even close to them. So that is what is confusing. I'm not sure if this man.
You're eliminating the possibility that you made a mistake. You didn't go until you were confident, but you were mistaken. If you would have been correct, there would not have been a crash.
And so that is what I initially thought as well, because I was like,
confident and correct are not the same words.
No, they're not.
They start the same, and they end with the same letter.
Yes.
And they have some similar letters, but they're not the same.
They're not the same.
And they don't even mean the same thing.
No, because you can be confident and still be wrong.
Yes. There's another phrase, wrong and strong.
Wrong and strong. There we go. That's where she's at right now.
Right, she's wrong.
She's on the corner of wrong and strong.
That's not on her way to Buckingham. She was on her way to wrong and strong.
Yes, she was.
This is a mistake that I made, but upon further reflection and talking to the passenger in the car with me, I realized that I really genuinely did not make a mistake. The car was with the pack of cars that I felt safe in.
Did everybody just hear say, I realized I didn't make a mistake?
I did.
And then I talked to the passenger and they said I didn't make a mistake, but yet you hit the car. They might have been just trying to smooth you over and be like, it's okay.
Did you notice also that she said, now we're with the pack of cars again? Now we're back in the tundra again.
The cars. It was a bunch of them.
Again, here we go.
Borg. They were coming to assimilate her. That's why she had to make
exactly.
She had to make evasive maneuvers.
Yes.
To turn in front of. I'm not sure if this man had seen me coming, saw my turn signal, decided to, get around me or get past me, and
Which
then
he
that's
has a
what
right to do.
happened.
First of all, you're making an illegal turn. When you make a left turn onto Woodward Avenue, the statute requires you to make the left turn into the left lane. Then you can change lanes.
She's behaving as if this street just got inaugurated, like the day that had the accident. She was like the
very
first two cars
on that street,
and they didn't know
ever.
what to do, and that happened. This judge is a traffic court judge for a particular area. Magistrate. They know every corner, a violation. This is this is that. There's very few things in that area they haven't heard.
Yep. And they have to be familiar with the statutes.
They codes. Know because and now that everything is like on camera and things like that, they can pull up the street and I'm quite sure he might even have access to the camera to know how the lights are and how everything is, to know there's a stop sign. Because
cameras have taken the place of having to do accident reconstruction. Now,
right.
I no longer have to sit there and figure out what happened. I have it recorded of exactly what happened.
And
only thing I'm gonna have to do is maybe if I want to estimate how fast you're going or slow you're going, then that's the only thing other than that.
And they said it's a 4-lane.
Exactly.
So if it's a 4-lane, I'm quite sure they have cameras and things, because now they have what's that called? Speed cameras.
But you can't make the left into the second or the third or the fourth lane. When you make a right turn, you have to make it into the rightmost lane. When you make a left turn, you have to make it into the leftmost lane. The statute requires that. But that is kind of honored in the breach with the Michigan left set up the way they are. However, when there's traffic on Woodward proceeding in the way that you want to go, or if you want to cross them, whichever way you're going to look at it, they have the right of way. You have to wait for them. You didn't. There was a crash. You caused the crash. You're responsible for the civil infraction of making an improper lane change.
Might drop on that one, Judge just called it right there. You were wrong. Nothing more to be said in the story. She's taking into account everything except she's taking into account everything off factors except for her. This is where delusion kicks in. She's not willing to take accountability for her own actions. And that's dangerous. Very dangerous.
That's really bad, because she keeps trying to go with, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I don't know what happened. I didn't do it. I don't know what happened. And these are the people that unfortunately can strike somebody down and they'll say, I didn't do it. They had cases where somebody hit somebody, the person was left unalive. They took the person home, and the person was in their car, on top of their car. They struck them with their car, and they went out there and did not call an ambulance, didn't do anything. And as a result, the person is no longer here, and they could have called the ambulance. And they said that the injuries would not have been as serious if they would have just called an ambulance. But since they were left there for days, they left that person for like days, and the person succumbed to their injuries. Because the person was in denial. They locked the person. Basically, they kidnapped the person and held them in their garage while they were suffering. And for all she knows, the judge could be sitting there thinking about this same situation I just mentioned. And the fact that she's not accepting any accountability. She's saying that she didn't do that. And he could just be sitting there saying, you know what? I might have to revoke her license based on this. She could lose her license based on this. And then she'll probably sit there and say, I don't know why that judge took my license. It was just a little accident.
I didn't do anything wrong.
This idea that upon reflection, you can't see that it was your fault flies in the face of the reality of the situation, that you felt confident you could go. You went because you were sure it was safe. And unfortunately, you were wrong. Fine is 170. It's clear that you're responsible. There's no ambiguity there at all. If the officer hadn't testified, if I heard only your testimony, I'd have to find you responsible. The fine is $175. It can be paid online or by mail. Or you could drop by the courthouse and pay it at the counter if that's more convenient for you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good.
You see, her own testimony convicted her.
Yes. He said even if the officer hadn't testified.
He never said the only thing he said was, do you
No, he testified.
Yeah, but he didn't even really say anything. All he said is,
he gave the parameters of the facts.
I understand that. All he did was the date and the time. And she was like, can I say something? And just open up her shovel, and that was it. Because he didn't say anything. She illegal lane change.
He said he responded to a property damage accident. Further investigation concluded that she changed from one lane to another, striking other vehicle. Boom, case closed. That's all he said, and that's all he said. Right. Everything fell through as upon reflection. I feel after thinking about it, I know I hit him, but I think about it, it's not my fault. That's delusional and that's dangerous because you're not taking the knowledge, so you can really hurt somebody, and you won't feel any responsibility whatsoever. Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
And also give us a thumbs up, like, comment, share. Subscribe to the channel, and you'll be notified of every video as they come up. And get that algorithm going and help us build this channel this year.
And make sure that you don't wind up in a what had happened situation. Boom, boom, boom.